Right, I've got a question for you. Is it fair and correct for you to be sent off for a second booking when you don't even know you got the first one? Because that is exactly what happened to Gabriel Martinelli in this huge game, a statement victory for Arsenal. We've got to give them the credit there. It was a massive win, but yet again, they have a disciplinary problem. But with this one, I really don't know the truth. So should you be able to be sent off for a second booking when you don't even know that you have to tread a little bit carefully because you are still on the first one? I mean, on one hand, I think it's a bit harsh, but on the other hand, I kind of think don't behave like an idiot twice in the space of 30 seconds, because if you do, you might end up being sent off. And that's exactly what's happened. But I don't want to take anything away from Arsenal here. This is a really big victory. Wolves are brilliant. I think you can make a case for Bruno Lage being one of the best managers of the league this season. I honestly believed the Wolverhampton Wanderers were going to be relegated. They are in contention for Europe. And Arsenal going to Wolverhampton Wanderers and winning, going away to Molineux and getting a statement victory in those difficult circumstances. Wolves are a club who do not concede goals. They don't score very many, but they do not concede. And therefore, for Arsenal, who struggle to score goals to win, it's actually a really pivotal moment. But I'm very interested in your thoughts on Martinelli being booked twice in 2 seconds. I mean, the first one was for pushing Pedence to the floor and trying to stop him taking that quick throw in, and then the Pedence took it, so Martinelli chased after him, and it ended up at Cinquino, I think, and that's where the foul occurred, and he was sent off. I think that was really dumb. I honestly do. I think it's very easy to say that he was unlucky. It's very easy to say that he was unfortunate, but Michael Oliver ultimately had no choice because they were 2 individual bookings. It's just he didn't know. So I feel like Michael Oliver could have probably shown and demonstrated a little bit of leniency, but he didn't. And yet again, Arsenal are down to 10 men. They're going to have to change their name, aren't they? Like 10-man Arsenal. That's who they are now, just 10-man Arsenal. But it wasn't a pretty victory, but it was a very impressive victory, a statement victory, and a really, really decisive one. It's exactly what Arsenal need, because they showed all of the characteristics that you do not associate with this Arsenal team. Grit, character, desperation to win, a bit of fight, a bit of hunger, wasting time after about 60 minutes, which on some level I sort of rate, because that's what you do. That is the point, isn't it? That is what people do in these situations. So it's very impressive. And yeah, I think they need to now use this victory, going to Molineux, use this victory as something to build upon. It really is something to build upon, because they have won a game 1-0 away from home, and it was a really scrappy, horrible Gabriel goal to win the game. That takes them up to 5th, by the way, and they have 2 games in hand on West Ham United, who are in 4th. So Champions League football is yet again a serious proposition for Arsenal, and all of the question marks about Mikel Arteta, some of them are still there, but some of them are answered with this sort of victory. To get this sort of victory, it is big. It is really big. So where they go from here, I do not know. I thought that the goal was going to be disallowed, actually. I felt sure that it was going to be disallowed, but it was correctly not. It was never a foul on the keeper. Don't get me wrong. I don't think it was a foul. I just felt like they were going to think that it was a foul. I mean, I think it was Lacazette and Sarr went up for the same ball. The keeper missed it. Cody was trying to tidy up. He couldn't do it. Gabriel pounced, poked it into the net, and I just thought the ref's going to rule this out. Because sadly, that is football. Do you know what I mean? That is football these days. But it was the correct decision because there was no foul. I think it was poor keeping. I think it was Neves, actually, who kind of inadvertently headed it on. And it was a mess from Wanderers' perspective. It was a real mess. Wolves will be gutted with that because they pride themselves on being incredibly stingy at the back. They just do not concede goals. So to concede in that nature will not fill them with any joy. I thought Wolves were good, though. They were really knocking on the door. They got into some very promising positions, but they just couldn't make it count. I mean, in the last few minutes, all of the deliveries were just a little bit wrong. I mean, and throughout the game, I mean, when you think about Trincao, he got himself into some such promising positions, but all of the final delivery was just wayward. And I suppose that's the difference, isn't it? That is what separates a truly top-class player with, a very good player. Just someone who's very good. But it was constant Wolves pressure. Semedo, I thought, had a good game. He was asking questions, putting a delicious cross for Jimenez, but he just couldn't do enough on it with the header. And it was tight. It was tight, very tight between the two teams. But ultimately, Wolves will look at this as 2 points dropped. They did enough, 3 points dropped, sorry. They did enough to get at least a point from the game. They really did. But it wasn't to be, and a lot of those question marks about Arsenal are starting to be answered. I really did think that Arteta made a pig's ear of it. The handling of that Lacazette situation was so bad, but we must now acknowledge that this is a very impressive result. I can't believe that we are in a situation where Arsenal are reliant on going from January until May, and their ambitions of qualifying for the European Cup, their goal-scoring prowess is now Eddie Nketiah and Alexander Lacazette. They have let, in my opinion, their best player leave. They have let Aubameyang leave. And that is a decision that Mikel Arteta will either ride or die on. I believe that it was an incorrect one. But if you go away from home and pick up a 1-0 victory like that, it's a statement. What I must do before I let you go and move on to the Liverpool game is say thank you so much to 888 Sport. They have sent me to Los Angeles for the Super Bowl. I'm currently in Radio Row. I'm currently in all of the biggest media outlets are here now talking about the Super Bowl. There's some major athletes hanging about. There's some brilliant people here, and I am honoured to be here. We've got a screen up with all the football on it so I could follow it perfectly. But thank you so much to 888 Sport. They have backed me, and I am honoured that they've taken the leap of faith with me and sent me to the Super Bowl. What a moment. Right, shall we talk Liverpool? And there has also been a massive result at Anfield. Liverpool have beaten Leicester. Brendan Rodgers, yet again, falls short. It's not surprising to me, but interestingly, do we have a title race? That is the question now. Do we have a title race? Liverpool have cut Man City's lead to 9 points. You also have to remember that they've got a game in hand over the leaders who are champions. And I wonder now, is there the potential at least of... is there the potential of a title race? I'm beginning to think that there might be. Slim as it is, I think City will win the league, but I just wonder if this Liverpool team do have the minerals to really challenge, and I'm inclined to think they can. Jurgen Klopp has built something incredible here, and he is in the process of rebuilding again. He's in the process of doing something that is so impressive, and that is re-establishing his own dominance. You know, potentially moving on Sadio Mane, bringing in Luis Diaz, Diogo Jota, man of the match today, although Kasper Schmeichel deserves an honourable mention, but Diogo Jota, is he now the main man aside from Salah? Is he now the Roberto Firmino? I'm inclined to think he is. I'm inclined to think that he is. 2 goals for him today. He just hits the ground running all the time. He's an astonishing signing, a brilliant football player. And I rate Roberto Firmino so highly. I hold him in such high regard. But now I think Diogo Jota is more important and better. That is how good I think he is. Look, I'm not saying that City aren't favourites. Obviously, Man City are strong favourites. But maybe, just maybe. On the other hand, Leicester haven't won a game in 2022. Brendan Rodgers is not the man everyone else thinks he is, and they are now 12th in the league. They are now competing for mid-table. They are now optimistically hoping of finishing in the top half. The days of the Champions League are over. They will not be in European football, and there is a lot of pressure on him now. I think that people are really starting to ask questions about Brendan Rodgers and about how good he is, because he isn't very good, and people are starting to realise that. The mask is slipping. But this is about Liverpool, not really Leicester. Liverpool are just outstanding, and I would go as far as saying that this is the best team that Jurgen Klopp has ever built. I appreciate that he's built a team that's won a European Cup, he's built a team that's won a Premier League, but this team has played as well as any Liverpool team previously. That is how good this Liverpool team are. And Jurgen Klopp was brilliant today. Got it so right. Such aggressive substitutions. You know, bringing on Elliott for Jones, Salah for Firmino. Did you hear the roar, by the way, when Mohamed Salah came on? It's like a goal was scored. They were so happy, the Scousers. They were over the moon with that goal, with that bringing him on there. Alexander-Arnold again, in and amongst it, sort of an assist. Swung a lovely one in for the corner. Diogo Jota yet again there to power home from 6 yards. That's who he is, that's what he does. And there was some really good football being played by Liverpool. There was one move that I saw which ended with Diaz having a shot. He was desperate to score, wasn't he? He was desperate to score on his home debut. It was a shame for him that he didn't, but there was a gorgeous move. I mean, I think it went from right to left, and it went through Thiago to Jota to Diaz, and he just lashed his shot over and into the Kop. It was a shame because you could tell how desperate he was to open his Liverpool account in his opening day. So, business as usual for Liverpool. They were brilliant. 2 goals for Diogo Jota. I mean, he is just a sensational footballer. He really is so good. And at the end there was just enough time for Alisson to maintain the clean sheet. I mean, there was an opportunity. I think it was Maddison who nearly scored, but fantastic goalkeeping. This Liverpool team is serious. They are serious. Nobody wants to play them in any competition. That includes me with regards to the League Cup. They are truly, truly brilliant. Nobody wants to play them in Europe. I think Liverpool will end this season with silverware. Brilliant day of football. Brilliant day. And I don't want to say I told you so about Brendan Rodgers, but guess what? I did. Thank you so much for watching this video. Thank you so much to 888 Sport for sending me to Los Angeles for the Super Bowl. I appreciate you watching this video. Please click subscribe. Please give it a like. And I will see you all very soon. Ta-da.